exactly 2 hours to get to Abbottsville from that last turn we just made. I remember timing it the first time we came to Uncle Jim.
I wish it were a little closer. This is without a doubt the roughest road in the entire state of California.
Headed for Abbottsville, ain't you?
That's right.
Well, you ain't gonna make it on this road.
Why not?
Morning, ladies. The Canyon Creek Bridge is out.
Out?
Collapsed sometime during the night.
Well, I ain't surprised. Well, with them heavy ore wagons using it the way they do, guess we'll just have to turn around.
Isn't there another road into Abbottsville?
You get there through Tyler's Cut, but that's 35 miles out of the way.
What about it, driver?
Sorry, miss. I got to connect with the eastbound mail train out of Parkersburg. You got to go back to Lake Junction, and then through the valley.
Well, I guess there's only one thing for us to do. Go back to Lake Junction and rent a buggy.
Well, that's a mighty hard road through Tyler's Cut, ma'am. I wouldn't try it if I was you.
I don't see how it could be any rougher than this road. But thanks for the warning.
Get up! Heat up! Shoot! Ah, heat up! Didn't work.
What happened?
Ladies are gonna hire a livery at Lake Junction and go by way of Tyler's Cut. They'll be late getting to Abbottsville, but they'll get there.
Dad?
Been to the bank.
I know.
Just had to have another talk with Seth Duncan. He spent an hour telling me about his new grandchildren. And another half hour raving about a shipment of caviar he just got from Russia. When I got talking about the loan, he suddenly remembered an appointment he had with his tailor.
Dad, why do you keep wasting your time? Now, you know there isn't a bank in the country that's going to lend money on silver these days. And I don't want you begging Seth Duncan for help. We've kept the mine running so far, haven't we?
Yes, but...
Now, no buts about it. That mine's operating. It's going to keep on operating. I promise you that.
Well, I just...
Now, Dad, why don't you go back to work? I'll talk to you later.
All right, sir. All right.
Mrs. Barkley. Mrs. Barkley.
Eric!
How nice to see you.
Oh, Eric, how
are you?
Audra, my goodness, look
It's been a long time.
3 years.
Yes, you were just about to join some law firm in San Francisco.
That's right. And Dad talked me into coming back here and opening up an office of my own. Well, may I invite you to join me for lunch?
Oh, no, thank you. I'm sure Jim is waiting for us in the hotel.
He's not there, Mrs. Barkley.
Are you sure?
Positive.
Well, we're hours late.
Well, we better get on to the ranch then.
Oh, Mrs. Barkley, I don't think that would be advisable.
Oh?
It's your brother-in-law. He's ill.
Ill?
It's his mind.
His mind?
That happened just a couple of months ago. Jim and I had been to Arizona to look over some of his holdings. One day, well, about a week after we came back, he,
Well, what, Eric, what?
he tried to kill his foreman.
Mike Newcomb?
Mike was working in the barn. Jim came storming in, babbling something about Mike trying to ruin him by poisoning his cattle. He went after Mike with a bailing hook. He had him down. He would have killed him if some of the hands hadn't been close by. Since then, we've had to keep Jim confined to his room.
You mean he's kept locked up?
I'm sorry, but we had no other choice. Mrs. Barkley, I know what a shock this must be to you. But I'm afraid your brother-in-law is hopelessly insane.
I don't understand. I don't understand why we weren't told about this.
Well, I suppose I should have. I kept putting it off, thinking that maybe Jim would recover. Or at least show some signs of improvement. Then when I got your letter to him, well, I get all of his mail now. Saying that you were stopping here in Abbottsville on your way to a wedding in San Francisco. I decided to wait until you arrived so I could, well, break the news to you in person.
Would you drive us out to the ranch?
Certainly. If you're sure that's what you want to do. I took the liberty of reserving rooms for you here at the hotel. I thought you might prefer staying here under the circumstances.
No. I want to see Jim under any circumstances.
All right. I'll get my rig.
It's so good to see you. And Audra, my, you look prettier every day. Oh, I'm so glad you decided to stay here instead of the hotel. Like Mr. Eric set your mind. Come in.
How have you been, Grant?
Oh, Mike and I have just been fine. Considering.
Where is Jim?
He's up there.
I want to see him.
Well, Dr. Morley's with him now.
Dr. Morley?
Yes.
Oh, he's new in town. He's a young man, knows a lot about modern medicine.
What happened to Dr. Pierce?
Oh, Doc Pierce? Oh, he's still around. He'll go on forever, I suppose. But, Doc Pierce is a little old-fashioned. I felt Jim should see somebody who knows more about this sort of thing.
Come on into the living room. We seldom use this room since Mr. Jim took sick.
I've always loved this house.
Oh, it's been home to Mike and me for a lot of years now. I don't really know what we'll do when it comes time to leave.
Now, Mrs. Newcomb, let's not think about that. Mr. Barkley needs you and Mike now more than he ever has. The Newcombs have been very loyal through all this.
Well, I just wish I could do more. It's hard just to stand by and see a fine man like Mr. Jim. But I better see about supper. You'll stay and have it with us, Mr. Eric?
Well, it's very kind of you, Mrs. Newcomb. Thank you. Oh, if I'm not intruding.
Not at all.
Well, then I'll just get things started.
So I've given him an injection. He'll quiet down now.
Dr. Morley, this is Mrs. Victoria Barkley and her daughter, Audra.
How do you do?
I'd like to see him.
I can't permit that, Mrs. Barkley. For your own safety, he's much too upset.
When can we?
Well, I'm not sure.
Doctor, they have to catch the morning stage to San Francisco. Wouldn't it be possible for them to...
Well, you know as well as I do how unpredictable Mr. Barkley's moods are, Eric. Now, I'm afraid we'll just have to wait and see how he is in the morning. Well, now, I must be getting along.
I'll walk out with you, Doctor.
Yes, I'll be back in the morning before you leave.
Would you like to freshen up before supper?
Yes, thank you.
I'll have your bags brought right up. Oh, it's like that. He paces and paces and paces for hours on end, up and down, back and forth like a... Can I give anybody some more coffee?
No, thank you.
Not for me.
No, me, thank you. I'll just finish what I have and run, if you forgive me. I promised Dad I'd stop by the office tonight.
How is your father, Eric?
But these are pretty rough times for Mrs. Barkley.
Yes, I guess his silver mine is the only one in the state that hasn't shut down.
They'll never shut him down. You know Dad and how he feels about Abbottsville. This is his town. He started it. He built it. He's poured his whole life into it. Let me tell you something you might not know. My father lost a fortune in the crash of '66, and again in '71. But the mine and the stamp mill didn't shut down for one day. He kept the men working, and he kept Abbottsville alive.
I know the story. Your father is a fine man.
Yes, he is, Mrs. Barkley. They don't come any finer. Well, I better be getting along.
And I'll see if Grace can use some help. Audra, take Eric to the door. Eric, very nice seeing you.
Well, I wish it could have been under happier circumstances.
So do I.
I'm sorry you have to leave tomorrow.
I am too.
You were very close to your uncle, weren't you? Used to talk a lot about you. Well, about your brothers, too, but mostly about you. One didn't know better, one would have thought that you were Jim's daughter.
In a way, I was after my father died. He and Uncle Jim were so much alike. This was a second home to me. It was such a warm, busy, gay place.
Yes, there was always something happening. A party, a barbecue, a picnic.
Except after Aunt Ellen died. I spent that summer here. We rode and took long walks and sat out on the porch in the evening. Sometimes we talk, other times we just sit. And I realized I was the one person in the world he wanted to be with. I was only 15, but it was the first time anyone really needed me.
Look, Audra, I know how much you want to see your uncle. But if you want my opinion, you won't do it. You won't know him the way he's changed. And he probably won't know you. Wouldn't you rather remember the man you did know? Think about it.